Hey card fighters, what's going on? This is Josh from Team GOC Guardians of Cray, bringing you my Kagero deck profile of the new Blademaster Kouen deck. So far so good with the deck, really enjoy it. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So with the main deck, we're going to start off with that, and we'll start off with our grade zeros. Our starter for the deck is Lizard Soldier Conroe. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he has been resurrected, and at a really good time right now because this card is super utility. I didn't think that I would like it as much as I do, considering, just sometimes searching out the grade 1, people think like, alright, cool, you get a perfect guard or whatever, or grade 1 or less, you can get a heal for, like your G guard or whatever. But there's a lot of cards in this deck that is necessary to make combos work, and this helps you get to that. So its skill is, since it's from the original BT01, it doesn't have Forerunner, but it has the ability without the actual name to it. So as one other Kagero this unit, you may call this card to a rearguard circle, and act rearguard. Counterblast 1, retire this unit. Search your deck for up to 1 grade 1 or less Kagero, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. So again, utility cards, going to search out any one of your grade 1 or less cards, add it to your hand, just for Counterblast 1 and killing it. Really good to do early game, and you want to try to do it early game before like other decks that can kill him, and shut off your whole combo, like a mirror matches and stuff. Do it as soon as possible. So, that's our starter. Now, on to the triggers. So, we play 4 Dragonic, Jeanette, your basic Blademaster crit. When it's on the rear guard and your Blademaster Vanguard attacks, you can shove them into the soul, give your Vanguard 5k, draw a card. Just pretty much just lets you, recycle your hand, draw into pieces you might need. You might be low on cards, and you don't need a 10k shield, but you need attackers, and helps you draw into those. And then 2 more crits for a total of 6 crit in this deck. I play the Tars because they're rare, and, gotta play shiny Tars because the power of Kai is real. Even though this isn't a Kai deck, but, And then for the other 6 triggers, I play 6 stands. So I play 3 Lizard Soldier Vieira and 3 Inspire Yell Dragon. Now, the reason in this deck that I play stands as opposed to draws is because 1, this deck has a built-in draw engine, and 2, rearguard numbers in this deck get big. So this deck is very aggro as opposed to Overlord being very defensive and a grindy deck. This deck, you want to try to kill your opponent by second stride. Sometimes you can do it on first stride depending on how your early game went. But I'll get you in. Oh yeah, and their skills are actually very good, and that's the reason why we play them. So with Lizard Soldier Vera's skill is a GB1, rearguard. When your opponent's rearguard is put into the drop zone due to the effect of one of your cards, choose one of your other units. You may have that unit get 10k until the end of turn. If you do, you return this unit to your deck, shuffle. And you can only use this skill once per turn. In other words, if you have 2 on the field, you can only use 1 of them. So, the reason why that's good is that's going to beef up your already beefy columns. And it's a stand trigger that recycles back to the deck and lets you shuffle, so you can keep hitting your stand triggers and keep having a really beefy rearguard attack again. And this deck is very, very, very highly based on retire. It's very easy to retire with this deck. The costs are not very expensive either. So you're constantly retiring things, so he's usually constantly active. You drive check him next turn. And another good skill with him is that during your opponent's turn, if he's on the board and you Denial Griffin or you use Lizard Soldier Belog, whatever is going to retire on your opponent's turn, you can still activate him and give your Vanguard the plus 10k. So it's active defensively as well. So against like decks that do like a lot of multi-attack pokes, Okafor is a Gear Chronicle, whatever decks are going to restand a lot, this gives you an extra 10k shield permanent during your turn. Obviously, it lasts only to the end of turn. So that's why we play 3 of him. I would probably play 4 and 2, but I only have 3 and 3 right now. And then I have the 3 Inspire Yell Dragon. He has the Blaze ability, which I'm sure you know at the beginning of each of your attack steps. You have more rearguards than your opponent. Your Vanguard becomes blazing until the end of turn. And his Act Rearguard skill, GB1, Put this unit on the bottom of your deck. When your Vanguard becomes blazing, you may pay the cost. If you do, draw a card. Choose one of your units, give it 5k until the end of the turn, shuffle your deck. So, just like our Blademaster crit trigger, this gives any unit, not your Vanguard, this gives any unit 5k and lets you draw a card to recycle it back in the deck and shuffle. So unlike Jeanette, which goes into the soul, you're recycling another trigger. So I have 6 triggers that recycle back into the deck, and they're all stand triggers. So you can tell this deck is very aggro. So again, we're not going for the advantage, we're going for the kill. So 6 crit, 6 stand, and of course, we need a very important part of our deck for multiple reasons, and it's 4 heal triggers. These are the Fighters Collection ones, Positive Draco Kid. He has a skill that combos with the G-Guard from the same set. Soul Blast 1, when this unit is discarded from your hand for the cost of calling Supreme Heavenly Emperor Dragon, Advanced Guard Dragon from your G-Zone. If the number of face-up cards in your damage zone is 1 or less, you can pay the cost. If you do, countercharge 1. He's a heal. He's good. I never really use his skill because this deck does tend to lack soul sometimes, so I don't have the extra soul for the countercharge, but we have other ways of countercharging. So, those are our zeros. Next, onto the grade 1s of the deck. For Protect Orb Dragon. Now, you could play this, or you could play what we call Shield Master, but Flare Trooper Dumjid, whatever the fuck his name is. It's all personal preference at this point. I like the countercharge, so I like the Protect Orbs. If you think you have enough countercharge, you don't need to Protect Orbs, play the Dumjids. I mean, they're definitely a good backup. But he's your, run-of-the-mill countercharge PG. So, the deck does tend to counterblast. So I like always having the potential of being able to countercharge whenever necessary, or whenever possible, I should say. Next, 4 of one of my favorite cards in this deck, actually, is Dragonic Nudell. He's gone up in price recently. I get why, but I don't at the same time. So he does have the Blaze ability, Vanguard Rearguard. He does have his once per turn Rearguard ability, when your opponent's Rearguard is put into the drop zone to the effect of a card. If you have a Vanguard with Dragonic Blademaster in its card name, until the end of the turn, this unit gets auto Rearguard. When this unit becomes blazing, countercharge 1. Sorry, when your Vanguard becomes blazing, countercharge 1, and this unit gains 4k until the end of turn. So, he's a major part of your countercharge engine, and he's, Conroe is one of the reasons why I still play him, is because if I don't open with any of him, I can search one out, so at least I have at least one on the board before I start striding, and when I start using my counterblast, he's active from the get-go. He's also an 11k booster, which lets you hit so many magic numbers, and he could be an 11k attacker on his own, and the best part, none of his skills are actually GB restricted, and that's important, and I'll explain why in a little bit. Next, I run 3 Lava Flow Dragon, your stride fodder for the deck. Very important card actually in this deck. So he's your Blademaster stride fodder. So when he's placed on Rearguard, you can choose a grade 3 from your hand, reveal it, search your deck for a card with Blademaster, add it to hand, discard a card. And he counts as a grade 3 when you choose to use him for the cost of stride. We only play 7 grade 3s in this deck, and I don't play the original Blademaster. So if I open up with the other grade 3 that's not Blademaster, he comes in clutch because I can call him, reveal, search, discard another card. Now I have a grade 3, and I have a stride fodder too, with the grade 3 that was already in my hand, and I have the right grade 3. Because if you don't ride Blademaster in this deck, you pretty much lose. And that's why we play him, and only play him at 3, because again, we have Conroe. Yay, Conroe searches things. Card's really freaking good. Alright. So we play 3 of that. Next, 3 Lizard Soldier Belog. I like this card a lot, and it's pretty cool. We actually are getting a reprint of him. At least I don't know if we're getting it in English. We probably will be, maybe in the set. But this card is really good in this deck because it is retire for essentially no cost. the cost is pretty much the guard with him. So his skill is Generation Break 1. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, choose one of your Vanguards. Till the end of battle, it gains a skill. Auto Vanguard. At the end of the battle that this unit was attacked, if the attack did not hit during that battle, choose one of your opponent's rearguards at rest and retire it. So, I've explained it in another Kagero video how his timing and ruling and skills work. I'm not going to go over it now, but just know that it is a free retire. So it's going to help you during your turn when you have to pay for costs to doing retire during your turn. You'll have to pay less because you have to retire less. And he's a grade 1, he's a 6k. I mean, if you have to call him on rearguard, he's a okay booster. You know, it's going to get you there. But we play 3 because we want to see him. Again, he's searchable with Conroe. So you have your options there. And I play 1 of Tech in the deck of Energy Flame Athonic, another card that's actually gone up in value quite a bit. And it's from GBT01, rare, and his skill is Rearguard, put this unit to your soul. When your opponent's Rearguard is put into the drop zone due to the effect of one of your cards, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose up to 2 cards from your damage zone and turn them face up. So he's a countercharge 2 to put himself into the soul when you retire, which is pretty much what your deck does. You can do it during your turn if he's on the board. You can do it during your opponent's turn if he's on the board. You know, like when you Dial Griffin or Bellog again, or Advanced Guard Dragon. He's just good for that countercharge. He's another countercharge engine, and you could play him at 2. You could knock down a Bellog and play 2/2. I like him at 1 because the countercharging is actually pretty good with this deck with just the Nudells, because you call 2 Nudells on the board, you're pretty good. But yeah, the 1 of, I like it if I see it, or if I can search it out again with Conroe. So, that's my grade 1 lineup. Now on to the grade 2s. The reason we play 6 stands in this deck is this guy right here. Dragonic, Mabudi, we call him Mabudi. So his skill, he's the rare from the new set GBT11. He's got Blaze, Vanguard, Rearguard, and he's got his important skill, which is Auto Rearguard, Generation Break 2. Counterblast 1, when this unit attacks a Vanguard. If you have a Blazing Vanguard with Blademaster in its card name, you may pay the cost. If you do, draw a card. And this unit gets plus 2k until the end of battle for each of your opponent's open rearguards. So, this card serves 2 purposes. 1, he is your draw engine of the deck. Obviously, for counterblasting 1, draw a card. This is why we don't play draw triggers in the deck. Number 2, he's also your beater. So not only is he utility, he's your beat stick, because a lot of the times, like 9 times or even 9 times out of 10, my opponent has close to an empty board or has an empty board. So he's on average gaining between 8,000 and 10,000 power every time you activate his skill. That's why we play 4. Also, his skill is not once per turn. So if you hit a stand trigger, you can counterblast 1, draw a card, and activate it again, and it gains power again. That's why we play the stands. That's why it makes it aggro. So we play him at 4 of. Next, I play 4 Dragonic Nadeem. I really like Nadeem in this deck, purely because he can usually hit numbers on his own without being boosted if I don't have a booster, and that countercharge pressure. So his skill is Vanguard, Rearguard, Blaze. And when this unit attacks a Vanguard, if your Vanguard is blazing until the end of turn, this unit gets plus 2k and auto, Generation Break 1. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, countercharge 1. So his Blaze skill of gaining 2k is not Generation Break locked. So if you need an early game, 11k beat stick, if your opponent's grade stuck, and you just want to try to hurt them a little bit faster, he's your guy. Also, the on-hit pressure of countercharging is important because it's going to force your more cards out of your opponent's hand. And, it's more countercharge in the deck that already has a decent amount of countercharge in it. So we play for that guy. Next, I play 2 Perdition Dragon Dragonic Neoflame. Neoflame, I like him in this deck because he allows you to do some early game retire because he's not Generation Break restricted. So when this unit is placed on Rearguard, until the end of the turn, this unit gains a skill, Auto Rearguard, Counterblast 1. When your opponent's Rearguard in the same column as this unit is put into the drop zone, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's Rearguards in the same column as this unit and retire it. Now, I only have 2. I'm most likely going to play 3, but I'm trying out something else right now. So I like this card because, again, like I said, it's early game. And the thing is, you know, it's like, oh, how are you going to get another card in the same column into the drop zone? It's not by a card effect. It specifically just means when they hit the drop zone. So whether it's by attack or not. So you can swing with this guy at a card in the same column as him, counterblast 1, and then retire the thing behind it. Or attack something that's in the same column as him with another unit, activate his skill, retire the other card. I like him for that sole purpose. Late game, you might not activate him as much because you already have other things that are going to do things for you. But he's still a good option to have, just in case you still need him. And currently in the deck, I'm teching in one of the promo from the new set. It's a Wall Ravaged Dragon. And his skill is Auto Rearguard in your front row specifically. Generation Break 1, you retire this unit. When your opponent's unit is put on the Guardian Circle. If your Vanguard is blazing, you may pay the cost. If you do, your opponent chooses one of his or her grade 3 or less Guardians and retires it. So, your opponent, it doesn't work on G-Guards, obviously, because G-Guards are grade 4. But, obviously, if your opponent goes Perfect Guard, or forces them to not play the Perfect Guard, because they're going to worry about you retiring this, and then they're going to waste it, it's going to force them maybe to throw the G-Guards down, or throw down more cards than they would like to. Like, I'm just teching it in there right now. Like I said, I'm just going to try it out. I really think the 3 Neoflame is going to be the better option just for the consistency of drawing into it. But, you know what? Grade 2 lineup with the Neoflames, you can kind of play around with that. A lot of people are playing 10k Vanillas with Neoflame and then Mabuti and all that stuff, so it's all player preference. That's the beauty of it. So, those are my grade 2s. Now we're on to the meat and potatoes of the deck. So, we'll start out with 3 Wyvern Strike Jaugo. He's a common from the new set, GBT11. And he's actually a really good card. I like him a lot. So he's got the Blaze ability, Vanguard Rearguard, and he's got an on-place auto ability, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. When this unit is placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's Rearguards in the same column as this unit and retire it. So it's got the built-in Neoflame ability, except that it could do it whether something in the same column as him was put into the drop zone or not. It's on place, and it's not GB restricted, which is another important part. That means you could play it once right away. So if you go first, for example, and your opponent wants to rush and plays a lot of cards out, you can punish them by calling these guys on the rear guards before you get the stride. He does have another ability, which is a really good ability too, is Continuous Rearguard and Vanguard. GB1. If your Vanguard is blazing, this unit gets plus 2k for each of your opponent's open rearguards in the back row. So, a lot of your things in this deck, you're going to pop things. Most of the time you want to pop their boosters because you can attack their front row rearguards with your other units if need be. So he's usually constantly getting a plus 6k on top of him. So he's a 7k beat stick on his own. Again, numbers are hitting this deck. You put an 11k booster behind him, he's hitting, with Nudell, he's hitting 28k columns. If you put a 7k behind him, he's hitting 24. No matter what, he's hitting magic numbers usually. And then with stand triggers and everything, he just gets big. And then the main grade 3 of our deck, the reason why this deck is pretty damn good and why it works, is Dragonic Blademaster Kouen. Dragonic Blademaster Kouen, the new grade 3 main boss card of Kagero in set 11. His skill is Auto Vanguard Rearguard Blaze and Auto Counterblast 1 on Vanguard. When your G unit stride, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's rearguards, retire it, choose one of your units with the Blaze ability, and it gets plus 3k until the end of turn. So, that skill alone helps with hitting magic numbers. You give it to your Mabuti, activate Mabuti's skill. If they have an open board, you have a 22k beat stick. It's beautiful. Any of your units can use the power-up boost. So, and all my grade 2s, minus the Neoflame, have Blaze, and my grade 3 here has Blaze. He himself has Blaze. Nudell has Blaze. So you can give it to a lot of things. So, and then its GB2 skill is Auto Vanguard GB2 at the end of each turn. That means your opponent's turn or your turn, by the way. If your opponent has no rear guards, choose up to Choose up to one grade 3 card with Blaze ability from your drop zone and return it to your hand. So essentially, if you just do what the clan does and retire things and your opponent has no cards, you get to add a grade 3 back to your hand. So it's essentially a free stride. And the reason why we don't play the old Blademaster is the old Blademaster doesn't have Blaze, but both these grade 3s have Blaze. So, yeah, card's just really good overall. So that does it for the main deck. Now we're on to our G zone. So we'll start with the G guards. So we start with play 1 Flame Emperor Dragon King Azul Dragon. He's the Fighters Collection perfect guard from the original. G guard, the original one. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, if your opponent has 4 or less rear guards, he gains plus 5k. Simple as that. He's just there in case, you know, nothing else is going to work. Or I usually use him to flip up with his skill. This is Advanced Guard Dragon. He's the newer Fighters Collection G Guard. So his skill is Generation Break 1, Soul Blast 1, and choose a face down G Guard from your G zone and turn it face up. When this unit is placed on Guardian Circle, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's grade 1 or less rested units and retire it. So he's really good in certain matchups, specifically, you know, maybe blasters. It can help you get around certain things because now with blasters, with the Ganslot, we can't just Anile Griffin their blaster blades anymore, but their Flogels, they're there, and we can kill them, or the Barkle, or whatever. So he still does something. I mean, for the soul blasting part of it, because there's a card in our G zone that uses a lot of soul, but if you have the extra soul in hand, you can use it. Plus, with the Kouen skill of getting a grade 3 back from the drop zone, you can get another Kouen and re-ride and build soul. So, I'll play one of him. I play one of the new GPT-11 rare G-Guards. It's Divine Dragonite Absalom. His skill is Auto Counterblast 1. When this unit is placed on Guardian during your battle that your Vanguard was attacked by your opponent's Vanguard, so it's very specific. You can Counterblast 1. If you do, he gains plus 10k power for each of your opponent's open rear guards. Now, a lot of people think this card is meh. I actually like it a lot because, but they say, well, what if your opponent calls a full board? Well, that's what Bellogs are for. A lot of people like to attack with some of their rear guards first. You can use Bellog to get rid of some, and you can use this guy to get rid of other ones. And we play 2 of this G-Guardian, and that's the Flamewing Steel Beast Anile Griffin. Everybody knows what he does. He's bonkers good still. When he's placed on Guardian Circle, Counterblast 1. If you do, choose your opponent's attacking rear guard and retire it. Good skills have 1 to 2 lines of text. He's still really good because you kill something with this and you combo it with a Bellog. You kill 2 things, he gains plus 20k just for Counterblast 1. And if your opponent has any other open rear guards other than the things you kill with these guys, he's even bigger. I've had the full 50k before when my opponent had no rear guard for Counterblast 1, and he just helps that. Plus, he's going to kill anything that's huge that you can't guard normally. Again, minus things that are going to have resist, but hey, you know what? Card's still really good, and that's why we play him at 2. So we play 5 G guards in this deck. Now onto the main deck. 1 Air Element Sea Breeze for obvious reasons. This is a G-based deck, so we still need him in case the opponent wants to play the grade 2 game, or you know, they're just grade stuck and we want to punish them for being grade stuck because they didn't want a G assist, or if they didn't, they missed, and then not sorry. 1 of the GB8 guy from Fighters Collection, Supreme Heavenly Emperor Dragon Blazing Burst Dragon. His skill, Stride Step. GB8. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, retire all of your opponent's rear guards, and all of your rear guards get plus 10k until the end of turn. If 3 or more units were retired, this unit gets plus 10k and a crit himself until the end of turn. Card's really good finisher. Very rarely have I actually gone into him, though, because most of the time my opponents are dead way before I get to him. But he's good there just in case I do run out of steam. If I go through all my Ziegenbergs and I have nothing else to do, he's your option. Because most likely by then, with all your G-guarding you do and him and just Ziegenberg persona flipping, you're going to go into him pretty decently. Now, for my first strides, we got 2 options here still, because these are still your 2 best first Kagero strides. Hopefully that will change in GBT 13. So we'll go over each of them. First one is Divine Dragonic Mustafa. We got this guy over here. So his skill is activate Vanguard. Once per turn, Counterblast 1. Choose a face down card from your G-Zone. Turn it face up. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. Choose one of your units for each face-up Divine Dragonite in Mustafa in your G-Zone. And until the end of the turn, they get a skill. When this unit attack hits a Vanguard, countercharge 1. We don't care about that. We care about the skill purely just for the Counterblast 1. Flip something face up and guarantee yourself retiring one of your opponent's units. So, boom. Instant guaranteed kill. And then on the other hand, we have him. We have Supreme Heavenly Emperor Dragon Vortex Desire. His skill is choose a face down card from your G-Zone, turn it face up. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do until the end of battle, this unit gains a skill, Auto Vanguard. When this unit attack hits, for each Flame Dragon on your Vanguard, choose up to one of your opponent's grade 2 or less units and retire it. So you, all my grade 3s are Flame Dragon, Stride with him, that's 2 units on your Vanguard, includes the Heart himself, kills 2 on hit. Simple as that. You guys probably already know what he does. Each of them you're going to go into depending on what your scenario is. Then we play 3 Supreme Heavenly Emperor Dragon, Dragonic Blademaster Titan. Surprisingly enough, I don't even use this guy. He was really good, and then unfortunately Ziegenberg came out and just replaced him. We use him because, you know, I flip up a copy of him usually with one of these guys, and then if I have to see myself going into him, Counterblast, with his skill, he can kill 2 things, guaranteed. So he's got the Blaze ability, and then once per turn, GB2. Counterblast 1 and choose a face down card from your G-Zone and turn it face up. Choose up to the same number of your opponent's rear guards as a number of face up cards named himself in your G-Zone and retire them. And then until the end of the turn, this unit gets continuous Vanguard if his unit's blazing +1 crit. He's still okay. It's still good to have as a backup in case, you know, maybe your opponent has too full of a board, or, you know, you don't want to go into Ziegenberg because your opponent just keeps calling shit back and you want to kill things and force a PG out with the extra crit pressure. But other than that, very rarely do I go into him. But then we got our main dude, the man, the legend, the really cheap card for no reason, because I think this card is pretty fucking good, is Flare Arms Ziegenberg. This card makes the deck. It actually makes a lot of things. I'm probably going to come out with a little bit of a revised version of an Overlord deck that plays him. So just keep an eye out for that as well. But this card is really underrated for a lot of people. They think, you know, against the triple drive, then goes as 1 drive, and it's okay, but I love him. So let's go on with his skill. So Stride, obviously Auto Vanguard Blaze, activate Vanguard once per turn. Soul Blast 1 and choose a face down card with the same card name as this unit from your G-Zone, turn it face up. Choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. So he's got built-in retire for just a Persona flip up. Now you don't have to do that, but it's your choice. His other skill is the reason why we play him. It's Auto Vanguard once per turn, GB3. Counterblast 1 and choose the same number of cards from your hand as the number of your opponent's rear guards and discard them. At the end of the battle, this unit attacked. If this unit is blazing, you may pay the cost. If you do, stand this unit and it gains drive -2. Why is he good? Because this deck retires a lot. It retires during my turn and retires during my opponent's turn. Most of the time when you stride into this guy, your opponent's going to have 0, maybe 1 rear guard. You attack, you discard no cards if he has no fields, or 1 card if he has 1 card. For every card he has, you discard 1. If he has no rear guards, which most of the time he does, you don't discard shit. You're just counterblasting 1 to get a restand. It is pretty free. And then he restands, he gets drive -2, so what? You get an extra Vanguard attack in there, and you play stand triggers, so you're getting a lot of attacks in. A lot. It's actually really good. This card makes the deck really good. It makes other Kagura decks really good, and it's splashable because it doesn't require a specific heart. So this card's going to see a lot of play for a long time. And that's it for my Blademaster Kouen Kagura deck profile. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe. Go check out our Facebook team page, Team Guardians of Cray, or at Team GOC Games. And we look forward to seeing you guys. We're located right out of Charlotte, North Carolina at Get Some Game. Please come down, find us, play some games with us. And that's it. Until next time, guys.